In the summer of 2021, Jack Grealish had the world at his feet. Grealish cemented himself finally as part of the England squad, and although we lost in the Euro 2021 final, he was a massive part of us getting there. And he finally got the big money move that he deserved as he joined Manchester City for £100 million. This means he's the most expensive English player ever and was actually the most expensive player in Premier League history at that time. However, fast forward 4 seasons and Grealish has been left out of the Club World Cup squad and he's basically been told that he needs to leave. And there are actually heavy rumours that Grealish will be going to Everton, which is a big drop from a club like Manchester City. So for some reason or another, it just hasn't worked out at all for Grealish. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the dramatic downfall of Jack Grealish. So let's take ourselves back all the way to the start of Grealish's Manchester City career, where he signed in the summer of 2021. Grealish signed from, of course, his boyhood club Aston Villa, where he first joined at 6 years old. Grealish played over 210 games for Villa, scoring 32 goals, and he had some pretty memorable moments at the club. In his first season at Villa, he actually was a massive part of them reaching the FA Cup final, including a semi-final win over Liverpool before losing to Arsenal in the final. The following season, Villa were awful. Grealish was part of a terrible run which saw him lose 16 games in a row, and Villa finished bottom as they were relegated. And a lot of people were speculating that with the potential that Grealish had, he was going to leave, but he never. Grealish stuck around and was committed to help Villa get back to the Premier League. Now, his first season in the Championship with Villa wasn't too memorable. Villa kind of struggled and they did finish mid-table in 13th place. And in Villa's second season in the Championship, Grealish was better. He started to pick up the form and Villa made it all the way to the playoff final before losing to Fulham. Now, at the end of this season, Grealish was very heavily rumoured to join Spurs as his contract was running out that summer, but the Spurs move failed for one reason or another, and he stayed at Aston Villa. Now, this season was a very memorable one for Jack Grealish as he became club captain in March 2019 until the end of the season. Now, Villa actually won 10 games in a row, and one of those games included the game that everyone's heard about, that famous Blues versus Villa derby. In the first half of that game, a fan actually ran on the pitch and punched Grealish in the back of the head. And you just know how karma works. You just know how football works sometimes. And of course, Villa won 1-0. And of course, it had to be Jack Grealish who scored the winning goal. Now, Villa finished 5th that season, and after beating West Brom in the second leg of the playoff semi-final on penalties, Villa made it through to back-to-back playoff finals. Now, after the heartbreak that Villa suffered in the previous season against Fulham, they were not prepared to lose again, and they wanted to make it back to the Premier League, and that's exactly what they did as they beat Derby and returned back to the Premier League for the first time in 3 years. Now, in his first season back to the Premier League, Villa announced Grealish was going to be the full-time club captain, which is a very big thing for Grealish. You know, he's basically captaining his boyhood club full for the whole season. Now, of course, in March 2020, COVID basically shut the world down and the Premier League just suspended for a little while before carrying on behind closed doors. Now, Villa really struggled in that season, and of course it was their first season back in the Premier League, and with no fans as well, it kind of didn't help. But who else could it be other than Jack Grealish, who scored the equaliser for Villa in their final game of the season to keep them up against West Ham? Now, in Grealish's final Premier League season for Villa, he scored 7 times in 27 games, and he helped Villa establish himself as a Premier League team as they finished in 11th place. And after having such a good season, Grealish was called up to the squad for the Euro 2021. And although we did lose in the final, like I said, it does break my heart. Grealish was a massive part of us getting there, especially in our game against Germany in the round of 16, where he basically made both our goals as we won 2-0. And of course, after the Euros finished, he signed for Manchester City. So life was going great for Jack Grealish. He was this quick, silky, dribbling, attacking midfielder who looked like he was going to have a big career ahead of him, and basically just win a load of trophies. And in his first full season for Manchester City, he did actually win the Premier League. Although at the end of the season, he did admit he had difficulties in his first season. At Manchester City, he wasn't the star player like he was at Aston Villa. He was basically pushed to the wing and he was told he had to pass and, not dribble as much. And it was a hard thing for him to do, to adapt to Man City's style, where at Villa, he was basically just told to do whatever he wants. However, he did score 6 goals in 39 games and was a massive part of them winning the Premier League. And in Grealish's second season, he was unplayable. He was one of the best players in the world that season. He only scored 5 goals in 50 games, but he was unbelievable as Manchester City won the treble. Now, everybody saw the scenes of him celebrating, and I mean, come on, he's a brummie like me, and I'm going to be honest, we like to have a nice time. And Grealish himself actually said he felt like he was now part of a Man City squad, and he said he was the fittest that he'd ever been in his career. However, the following 2 seasons, he dipped in form dramatically. Doku came in, other Man City players came in, and he was basically just pushed to the side. He only scored 3 goals in 36 games in the 23-24 season, and he only scored 3 goals in 32 games last season. And this is where we reach today's point. So he's basically been left out the Club World Cup squad, like I said, and he's been told by Man City that he needs to go somewhere else. But the question is, where does Grealish go? Well, like I said, he's been linked heavily with a move to Everton, which I personally don't think would be a bad move for him. If Grealish was to join Everton, he would be the star player again like he was at Villa. He'd be given the freedom to basically just do what he wants, and they're just given the ball, you can run with it, you can dribble with it, and he can finally play his silky style of football again. He has also been linked with the likes of Napoli and of course Spurs, who he's been linked with basically his whole career. But it all depends on what he wants to do. If he wants to carry on winning titles and things, then maybe go to Napoli or try Spurs. They've got a new manager with Thomas Frank. See what happens there. However, if he wants to enjoy playing football again, personally, I would go to Everton and I'd be the main man and I'd like to play the style of football that I love. Either way, I really hope Grealish can fix his career because although he did used to play for Villa, he's such an amazing and relatable and lovable guy. He is a really, really good player, and I still think he's got a lot to show. I think he doesn't fit in at Manchester City. Although, he's won a lot of trophies, he's got a lot of money for himself. I just don't think it's worked out the way anyone expected it to. But in the last 2 seasons, he has had a very, very quick downfall, and I really hope he can save his career. So me personally, I'd stay in the Premier League, and I'd go to Everton and try and reignite my career again. But that is just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Where does Jack Grealish need to go? But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's see what happens. He could stay at Manchester City for all we know. Something could change and he could stay at Man City, but I can't see it. But yeah, guys, if you did enjoy this video, then please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel while you are there. We are very close to 250, which is a quarter of the way to 1,000. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, guys. I really do appreciate it. The Premier League season starts in about less than 60 days now, so we're going to start churning out videos. We're going to do kit reactions, we're going to be looking at transfer windows for each club and stuff like that, so make sure you guys stick around. But yeah, thank you so much guys for watching this video, make sure you stick around and I promise you won't regret it.